Welcome to another episode of Thanks for the Consult. I'm Fior. We have with us Aaron. He says hi for those of you that are just listening. Our guest today is Talo Capuzzi. In no particular order, he is a response paramedic, a fire chief, and a 911 telecommunicator too. How are you doing today, Talo?
Good. How's everybody doing out there? I'll
Yeah, I'm
wave
doing
too for
good.
those just watching.
Very good. I mean, it'd be weird if they were just watching and not listening.
Yeah, that'd probably be. I mean, maybe it'll like closed caption or something.
We need
Yeah,
interpreters.
I put closed
Yeah,
caption on. We'll be good.
yeah,
We need
yeah,
interpreters for our ASL folks.
yeah,
We'll work on that maybe for the next episode.
Have you ever seen the people who do it at like rap concerts?
yeah. I don't understand how they move their hands so fast.
Right?
You
But
know,
they're
it's
into it.
right. I mean, they probably sweating like a hell of though. Like probably like
But yeah.
wonder how
They're more
many
fun
cal.
than the actual artist.
Well, like wonder how many calories you burn. Right? Like if you really get into it, they're like dancing and stuff. Got their hands go like yeah,
ASL is a workout. Bro, you know how there's some people who do anything, like any obscure thing to not actually do a real workout?
yeah. There it is.
Yeah.
There's
ASL is a
yeah,
workout.
So
yeah.
I was thinking that's what I'm missing. That's why I can't lose all the weight. I need to start doing that. But
It's kind of like a large upfront, like time consuming task though. You got to learn ASL first.
yeah, would be easier just to keep going to the gym, I guess. So
Right.
Taylor, tell us a little bit about yourself. What how did you get your start in public safety?
None of my direct family, not my dad, not my mom, brother, sister, nobody. My uncle, my grandfather, when I was in junior high, my mom and I would travel to Rochester, New York. That's where she grew up. I had an uncle there that was in the fire service, and he would take me away from the nursing home where grandpa was and be like, hey, take him down to the firehouse, that kind of stuff. So, um,
Nice.
and they did have a BLS ambulance, or I think they called it a squad. So
Okay. Cool. So you started young then?
yeah, I was hanging out there and then came back. I joined when I was 16 at Aleppo, where I grew up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
And then from
So
there, I joined Big Swickley Creek. They did some EMS there. Became an EMT at 18. Started working for Medic Rescue in Beaver County. And then, everybody wants to, especially there, there was a joke there. EMTP stood for EMT passenger. So if you were an EMT, you were driving everywhere for 12 hours. I'm
yeah.
like, dude, I want to be in the right seat when we don't have a patient. So went to paramedic class, and I think I was given drugs before I was legally allowed to drink alcohol.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice.
so
Yeah,
young.
I picked up a shift at a like we'll call it a traditional ambulance service. Uh and we were going to get lunch or something, and my partner who's an EMT was like, "Hey, can we go get lunch?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And I was standing on the driver's side of the ambulance. I'm like, "Just get in." She's like, "What are you doing?" Like, "You said you wanted to go get lunch. We're going to get lunch." She's like, "But you're a paramedic." I'm like, yeah, contrary to popular belief, they don't make you turn in your driver's license when they give you your paramedic
Right.
card. Like,
Here's how to start an IV. Forget how to drive an ambulance. Yeah, it doesn't
yeah.
work that way. Right.
How'd you think I got here today? You know?
Yeah. My
He said
mom
tradition
dropped me off.
probably horse and buggy.
Well, out your way, that does happen.
I mean, I
I've
work
had
with some dudes that I think actually rode in them, like on the way to calls. Right. I think we all have.
it. Yeah, I had a student once that he showed up on the bus line for his shifts, his preceptor shifts. Like
So,
that's
but
crazy.
I worked in the North Hills for a lot of years. I worked at Ross Westview, and we were on the bus line, and we
Yeah,
had a lot of center students. That that's how they got there. Or later in my career, Uber, or like we would
yeah,
get an 8 o'clock call, and I'd be like, grab all your shit, throw it in the medic unit, because if we end up in Oakland, I'll fill out your paperwork, and you can split. You
yeah.
know. So
That makes sense. You're a real nice preceptor. I would not have thought of that. It's been like,
Well,
oh,
I
that
think
sucks.
the bus, like the last bus was at like 11:05. So if they miss the bus, then I felt bad because now they're stuck in
Yeah.
the North Hills and
Yeah.
got to get them home
Which is
somehow.
crazy because your station was like, a stone's throw from a bus garage for Port
Right.
Authority.
Right. Yeah, like right over the hill. You could see them.
Yeah. If you can't get a bus from there, where can you? So, so Taylor, I've known you for quite some time. I've seen the not so nice Talo and been reintroduced to the nice teddy bear Talo.
Yeah. I think with age, a little bit of I've calmed down a little bit.
I think we all do.
Yeah. I mean, I can still definitely get loud. You can ask the guys at the firehouse. There's some days that they can hear me upstairs when I'm screaming at somebody. So
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to worry about being on that end.
yeah, I try to turn it on when needed. Kind of that dad. I and I joke like now, like uh, so I'm 42 and I'm dealing with kids that are 19, 20, 21, 22, and I'm like, these could be my kids, right? So,
Yeah,
I mean, I think Aaron probably could be my kid. I mean,
Wait,
you're in that age group,
we have
right?
been
I've been
looking
looking
for
for
his
my dad
dad.
for a long time.
You from Western PA or
I, I can be if you're
wait? You
trying to.
have blue eyes too. We're gonna have to discuss this when we get
Yeah,
home.
Nah, like we ain't. It
Yeah, right.
ain't.
Yeah, yeah. I've been
that
worried
hair,
because I'm running a little bit, and I'm like,
that hairline. He could be one of our other coworkers' kids.
yeah, yeah, most definitely, yeah, yeah. I don't know if he would appreciate, he'd be like, "Rah,"
Yeah.
but yeah,
Hey,
it's what
nail
it is.
pattern bone rape is a victimless crime. Okay.
No, they're definitely victims, bro. Like it when it's cold out, like I got some insulation. Fjord got some. You're like, it's it's 70 degrees out, and then if it's sunny and 30, you're burning the shit out of your head.
Got to put that sunscreen on.
Yep,
Do you
yep.
put sunscreen on your dome?
I plead the fifth.
He's supposed to, but he doesn't. So
I'm a hat guy.
yeah, right.
That's again
Fair
weird
enough.
tan lines.
Yeah. The
Fair
worst
enough.
is when you go to the beach, even with hair. Like I get mine thinned before I go to the beach in the summer. And like you'll be at the beach in your third day, you're like, fuck, my head is burnt to shit.
No, this
So
is
I
just
can't.
revenge. This is revenge that I earned because I made fun of my dad. My dad's got a bald spot like right in the middle of his head. I made fun of him all through my childhood. He used to like spray sunscreen there, always have to wear a hat. And
Yeah.
I earned this.
Now you got it. Yeah. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, hey,
But did
turnabout
you
is
learn
fair
your
play.
lesson?
Karma's cruel.
Karma is cruel.
It is. So if my math's correct, Taylor, you're doing what? Somewhere in the mid to high 20 years in EMS and fire at this point?
Yeah. So 27, 26,
Okay.
27, 25, somewhere in there. You know?
Nice. I
Yeah.
like it. That means I'm not the old guy in the room.
I also got this like gray that's coming in and like,
Oh,
yeah.
that's why you keep it short.
I also joke like I met Aaron what 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago at EMS update,
Yeah.
and like you do the stuff at the end, like how long have you been in EMS? And I'm checking that last box at the end, and it's so many years plus. It's
Yep.
not a range anymore, right? I was like, oh, cool, I'm in the range, and now it's the plus. You're like, oh, well,
Yeah. I
I am
need to fill that
officially one of
survey
the
out.
old guys.
Yeah. Where's the? I was at a class not this year, last year, where everybody stand up, and then if you've been in EMS for less than a year, sit down. If you've been in EMS for 5 years, sit down. And at one point, it was like me and two other people standing. I was like, "This is embarrassing," but I wasn't
But
the
I look at it
last.
the other way. I look at it the other way as well. Like, do you still enjoy your job?
Hell yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
at
yeah.
least at least that means for so many years you were able to do something you enjoyed.
Oh yeah, I agree. And I'm one of those weirdos that I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. So I've gotten out of it and came back a couple times, and
What do you mean I have to go
Can't
to?
look up everybody.
Well, I think it's weird because it's like I have to work 5 days a week. I have to be in an office. I have to be politically correct. I think that's where most of us struggle, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and my services, I would say that almost everybody that's employed there is less than 5 years. Like people leave and come back and leave and come back. Like it's not normal to have a staff of people. There's only one service in my area that really keeps people, and it's much to their chagrin. It's just that they pay so much better, and it's like
Hmm.
tenure based pay. So it's like they can't leave and go anywhere else if they want to stay in the area because it's just they'll lose the pay.
Yeah. I know a bunch of guys that are trapped at a service they hate because they're not going to make what they make
Anywhere
elsewhere, and
else.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
You
they
know?
and the jobs that would pay them more, they wouldn't qualify for, whether it's additional education, or they've were a bit too reckless in their early days to be considered for certain
Well,
positions.
yeah, right. And like you
Yeah.
said, I was, like I said, I can be mean. I was very mean in my younger days. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I mean,
sometimes when I don't get a job I apply for, I'm like,
might have
well, what's
been
it? Karma's a
why.
bitch.
A
Karma
cruel,
will come back
cruel.
and bite you.
She will.
Yep.
Hey, I said that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
good
was
call.
yeah, it's a
Right.
callback to earlier. The
Yeah,
Right.
good
classic
job.
comedic structure right there.
Yeah,
Right.
this guy's got this figured out.
Yep. Gotta listen. Gotta
Who's
hear.
hosting the podcast?
Right.
So Taylor, over those 27 years, I'm sure you've had some interesting stories that you know
Yeah. Oh
come
man,
to
I
mind.
could. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Um. I had a dude with a chainsaw in his neck. Right. Like,
Okay.
and the wonderful system that I was working in at that time dispatched it as a E2 for not dangerous body area bleeding controlled. And I'm like,
I don't know. The next
okay,
seems
like
real
right,
dangerous of
right.
an area.
The person I rode in a rescue truck to the call with was like, how the hell did this come out as an E2? I'm like, well, it is what it is.
Oh
But
yeah.
like, get there and guys holding the saw on his neck, and I'm like,
But the
oh
important
boy.
question was the bleeding controlled.
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
it actually was, right. I think out of everything, his only worry, we were worried about obviously bleeding not being controlled at some point during that, right? Especially because took the power head off the saw, cut the chain off. Now we're like, all right, how are we going to transport this guy 10 miles by ground? Because we
Carefully.
didn't, right? We don't use helicopters. We don't do any of that stuff. Um, oh man, that call was good. You know, when you get
Nice.
the doc and the box of chairs up, hands a senior guy a 1 millimeter or 1 milligram syringe or ml syringe, and he's like, "Here's fentanyl," and I'm like, "Bro, got a chainsaw on his neck, and I know our fentanyl is 50 mics per milliliter, and it has like half a milliliter." I'm like, "He deserves more than 25." And the senior guy that was more senior than me actually told him to sit on his hands and not talk. So
My parents used to tell me that all the time.
yeah, yeah. He actually, yeah. You didn't follow those rules, huh?
Nah, I wasn't very good at
No,
that.
no. But he did. He's like, sit on your hands, don't talk. The people in the back of the truck have this covered. We didn't ask you to come on our call. So,
I'm assuming it was a doc from your command system at the time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, we had just changed to the new
Oh,
command system.
that's good.
Yeah,
'Cause-
the doc and the command system we work now would be like, here's 500 of ketamine. Just
yeah.
give it till he feels good.
Yeah, you'd be fighting to take over patient care with him. He loves
Right,
that cool
right.
stuff.
Yeah, right. He
Uh,
probably would have pulled the bar out in the field.
probably. He,
So,
he's allowed.
right. Um, But like,
That's
so that's serious. But it was funny because there was stuff that happened on that call.
oh yeah.
You know, I've had obviously the you put what where. You know, I coined the phrase early in the career. If it doesn't have a flare, it doesn't go there. Yeah, like guy
Oh,
with it.
that reminds me. I had an overdose. The guy woke up and it's like, "Hey, what'd you take?" We gave him some Narcan. No, I didn't take anything. And my standard speech is like, "Well, if you didn't take anything and you went unresponsive and stopped breathing, we should probably take you to the hospital, figure out what's going on. If you did take something, it's possible that you could re-overdose, blah, blah, blah. You should probably go to the hospital." It's like, okay, I'll go. And as overdoses go, he's naked in bed.
Right,
Right.
completely.
So the cops came on that and he's like, "All right, man, what do you need to go to the hospital? Wallet, keys, some pants, that giant butt plug on the floor over there." I was like, I can't right now. Just, I lost my composure.
So on the other side of that, right? Our service area at one point covered a less well-to-do area. Get called for an overdose. Get there. Guys on the front porch. Older gentleman. He was like in his 70s. And I'm like, man, overdose at 70 or 60. Gave him some Narcan, woke him up. He's like, listen, I've been using heroin since the 70s. I don't normally overdose. I'm like, whoa, like you've been using since the 70s. He's like, yeah, I traditionally smoke it, but I shot today. I'm like, okay, cool. So he's like shifting, and I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, man, I don't know, just something's wrong. All right, no problem. And he's like shifting some more, and he's like, oh, hold on a second. And he reaches in his pants, right hand, right down in the pants, pulls out an ice cube. I'm like, how much do you have in there, right? Because you always get those people, especially if they're wearing boxers. You stand them up and it's like sounds like change, ding 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 ding, ding, right, right, and you're like, okay, well they tried waking you up with ice. He's like, I don't know, and he like reaches in there, goes to pull another one. He's like, oh, I'm like, what? He's like, that one's stuck, and I'm like, stuck? He's like, yeah, you got any water? I'm like, what? No, I don't have any water. And he like the girl that was with him grabs him a water and he like pulls his junk out and dumps the water. It wasn't that it was lodged, it was actually frozen to him. I'm like, oh
No.
man. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Poor
I mean,
dude
you've been
had it.
that's
doing heroin
awful.
since the 70s, though. He has it figured out. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. But and but completely truthful, right? Yep. I use heroin. Yep. He's like, I normally smoke it. I decided to shoot it today. I'm like, why would you decide to
Yeah.
shoot it? He's like, oh, I don't know. So
Let's just assume this was like the first year of your career. So the very late 90s, right?
yeah, early
That's
2000s, but like,
that's 20 solid years,
and
30 solid
this
years
was
of
probably 2010. So, um, lo and behold, what it was
yeah.
he was shooting heroin in the 70s because in the 60s he was in Vietnam, was smoking an opium dens, came home after staying in Vietnam for a while.
Oh, so now I feel bad. Like he's actually got a decent reason to use heroin.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
As far
like,
As
as reasons
re-
go, you know
yeah,
what I
as
mean?
reasons
but
to
I
use
also
heroin to
think
go.
I also think in 40 years you probably could have found a reason not to use heroin, or like,
It depends what you're looking for. He's a glass half full kind of guy.
right, right, yeah, he was definitely he was full,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Aaron, I was on the phone with Aaron yesterday and he had somebody send him a 12 lead for, a second opinion. And how old was that guy?
40 something, 47.
47-year-old. And the person described him as a meth head.
With
Again,
4 out of 10 chest pain.
yeah, that seems old to just pick up meth, right?
right.
Also, a little old to be alive if you've been doing meth for the last 20 years.
Yeah, and I mean,
What's the upper
that is
threshold? Like what's an appropriate age range to start doing math?
never.
Yeah.
Right.
Disclaimer: we here at Thanks for the Consult do not endorse doing meth.
Right.
But if
Right.
we did endorse,
That seems like a
hypothetically,
that seems like a early 20s, like, or late teens. I'm gonna try this, and or like, hey, I was stuck on Adderall for how many years, and now they're not giving it to me. So, right. Listen, I tried, and the doctor's like, no, dude, we put new vessels on your heart. We're not giving you any Adderall. I'm like, why not? They're like stimulants. I'm like, okay, well, you have me on beta blockers. They're like, no, no, they, yeah.
I feel like you can't just say that without qualifying that statement a little bit there,
What,
bud.
the new vessels?
Yeah.
So depending on how you look at things, I'm either 42 years old or about 20, almost 21 months, right?
Yeah.
July would
Yeah.
be 2 years. Uh, July of 2023, I decided to stop breathing and my heart decided to stop beating. Um, it decided on its own. I was a factor in such things. I was the addict. It was just energy drinks, nicotine, double cheeseburgers, two at a time, right? Like, yeah, but yeah. So I was a fib arrest. That got a shock, got an IO, got some epi, and I woke up and said, "I'm fine. Let me up off the ground." They're like, "No, man, we're gonna." It's one of those, if you passed out and your heart stopped, you should probably go to the hospital. So I was 100% occluded to my LED, um, right? And I was actually the uh, second diagonal as well. Was full of calcium, so I got double bypass at 40 41. So
nobody can argue with your paramedic certification because the fact that you wanted to refuse care after a severely ill and horrible event,
right,
facts.
but like another, like one of those funny things that you're like, well, I got it on my arm, right? Like I can't really see. Wait, let me try to get, like, I got all kind of stuff on my arm, but in here I have Norm. Calm down. So if you from the North Hills of Pittsburgh, Norman Preisel, love the dude, right? Like I am literally still here because of Norm, but like he's on the phone with my boss. Taylor's fucking dead. Taylor's dead. He's laying on the ground. He's dead. And I'm like, Norm, calm the fuck down. And our boss is like, I don't think he's dead if he's telling you to calm down. He's like, someone get the ketamine. So, and they're like, well, hold on, he's back. Let's not put him back out. So, but I get to, I'll say it. I got to Allegheny, right? That's where they treated me, Allegheny General. And, I wake up. So that was it. Almost midnight, 23:49, I think was the exact time. And what's interesting, your Apple Watch will actually show when your heart stops and restarts. So
Nice.
yeah, like it's
I mean,
pretty
I'm not
cool.
just gonna voluntarily test that, but that is pretty cool.
I did. Like I could be a case study for them. Um, if only I had the rapid AFib alarm set up on my watch, probably wouldn't
Right?
have made it that far. But like, I guess at one point, a resident walks in. So it's July 8th. What happens on July 1st?
New residents.
New
We got
residents, right?
the
Teaching hospital,
baby docs. Yeah.
right? Baby, they come in with like the sharp scissors and they're like, I'm ready to cut everything. And I guess this resident walks in. He's like, "Hi, I'm the resident." I'm like, "What fucking year are you?" "I'm a third year. It's okay." I'm like, "Good. You've been here more than 8 fucking days." So they're like, "Okay." And then about 3 o'clock in the morning is the first I remember. And I wake up, I see all the people, and I'm like, "Oh man, I fucked up." Right. So like the service that I was working for, we had a supervisor who was there. We had a manager who was there. We had a manager of our branch, and then we had a vice president of operations, and they're all there. I'm like, oh man, I messed up. So I do the whole, well, I wasn't shot. What happened? And they're like, oh, you went into cardiac arrest. I'm like, cool, my leg's killing me. Does anybody know why my leg's killing me? And all of a sudden, they're like, you had an IO, and you're like, I'm like, motherfucker, I missed it. I wanted to be awake when they did it. Right? I've wanted to feel what I've drilled how many people over the years. You're like, I want to feel it. You just want to know what it feels like. You don't want to know what the after effects feels like. I will tell you right now, it literally feels like your legs trying to explode. Um, yeah, that from chest compressions, a bypass, all of that, that was the worst pain out of that whole experience.
Okay.
So
So
yeah.
there's a video that we show in paramedic classes of it's a military video of them IOing the guy
Hmm.
unconscious, and he's screaming in
But if you
pain.
watch the video, when does he scream?
But when they flush it, yeah,
When they flush
yeah,
it, right? So um, I can concur with that guy that that was the pain. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
I don't know what it felt like to get IO'd, but I will tell you afterwards that
oh yeah.
pain was real. Um, and then like I start like reaching in my pockets because like I'm like, someone's got to go get my car. Someone's got to go do this. Someone's got to do that. And like I reach in and I pull my key out, and Joe Garrison, one of my best friends, is like sitting to my right, and I'm like, Joe, you might want a glove for this. And he's like, I'm like, it's covered in piss. Okay, I pissed myself. So right, he's like, I'm okay, man. Right. So, but
What a
you know.
homie. Real one right
Right.
there.
Yeah. He's like, here, just give me that. Right. So then he took care of my car. And so,
Get yourself a friend who will take your piss covered keys for you.
right.
I think that's the life lesson here. Not
Yeah.
don't go into cardiac arrest. Get yourself a friend that'll take your piss covered keys for you.
Right. That, usually the same person that'll hold your hair when you're throwing up. I don't have that problem. Right.
Yeah.
You definitely don't, Aaron. Right. Yeah. Right. So, but
Although if he did have hair, he would have had that problem a couple weeks ago.
Listen, man.
that
I feel
Chianti, it
Yeah.
snuck up on you.
So you remember it was cold up there. We had a
Right.
hot tub at our place, and
bro, it was not the hot and cold thing. That's
it
not what
was
it was.
100%. You drank a bottle of wine by yourself and got in and out of the hot tub about 10 times within each hour.
What are you, my
Right.
mom?
No, just somebody with some observational skills.
Just
Bro, I was
observed
chilling.
what you did. Did you
I was
have a
chilling.
fun time though?
Yeah, I had a great time.
There
Fuck
you
it.
go.
Who
I
cares?
rallied. I came back downstairs. I slept on a beanbag chair and a bear blanket. It was cool.
Right. And you had a fun time in a responsible place. You didn't get in a car and drive. You didn't hurt anybody else. You didn't hurt yourself. So what's wrong with it? Right.
Right.
And you
Yeah,
don't do
that's
it
next
every.
weekend.
I assume you don't do it every night. Like it's just like a thing, right?
Yeah, that's next weekend's plans.
Just pencil it in on the calendar there.
Right.
Get white girl wasted.
It wasn't the hot and cold. It was not that.
No?
I mean,
Okay.
I maybe a little bit, bro.
What? How does that have anything to do with it? I don't understand. Physiologically, explain this to me.
Shocks your system.
All right.
Maybe you're vasodilating and dumping all of that into your system at once. When you jump
Maybe.
in the hot tub, when you're cold, so your body's trying to shunt all that shit back to your organs. You jump in the hot tub, everything opens up, and it's like right back. Could be physiologically explained.
I don't think the metabolic rate of digestion changes though.
That's true.
No, but it wasn't the digestion that was sped up or slowed down.
Well, the absorption of alcohol is mediated by the rate of digestion.
Why do you have to bring logic into something that we're just trying to talk about?
because
Right?
because I don't think it was that. I think it was the fact that it was wine.
So
That
just because it was wine. So had you drank equal amount in any other alcoholic beverage, you think that it would not have happened.
shit. If he would have drank that much vodka, it would have been worse.
No, I feel like if because of all the sugar that's in it.
Mm. Yeah, that'll fuck your day up.
Yeah, I think that's what did it. I feel like it's a more sissy thing to say. Be like, oh, yo, the reason I threw up is because I was hot then cold. Like, what are we talking about?
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Could
I
have
mean,
just been all
whatever.
the sugar in your gut that was also had probably not nasty food, but like greasy food and
Hey, dude, I lived
and
off of Pop-Tarts and chicken nuggets for like 3 days up there.
right. And yeah. put all that stuff in your system when you're not used to it. It's like, I want out, right?
Yeah, I've been just embracing the TK diet of just like fried cheese for the last like 4 or 5 days.
And,
Cool, he's not here
and
to defend himself.
Shout out episode 2.
right, well, and peanut butter sandwiches, but you got to one piece, fold it in half. What was it?
Not
You
a
get more,
sandwich, peanut butter bread.
right?
This
Well,
is
you
what
get more peanut butter to bread ratio when you fold it in half.
I reject that premise entirely.
It's about maximizing surface area.
Right? Love that kid though, right? Like,
Yeah.
right?
He had a plate of peanut butter bread and like 10 Oreos, and that was his meal.
That's fine. He's alive. But speaking of him, the day I felt old in EMS was the day that I worked with him for the first time and realized that he was Jeff Kelly's son. I was like, holy crap, I've worked with your dad. Your grandfather was my fire chief when I started. Like, I'm too old.
Well, and then you ask one of your students, you're like, oh, what year were you born? They're like, 2003. I'm like, fuck, I've been doing this longer than you've been alive, you know?
And they can drink legally. Yeah.
But
I was born.
I mean, I remember TK is knee high running around that station. You know,
Oh, yeah.
got the Porter Boys, got all of those people that like I watched them grow up, and now they're
Yeah.
out doing the thing, and you know,
Ah, it's makes you feel old. But, also there's some cool nostalgia to it as well.
it's great
And,
nostalgia because you're like they're good people too. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like they're yeah, like
yeah,
and so
yeah. Yeah, so uh Aaron and I guess everybody else. So Taylor and I work together, uh, and what we do is we run on a paramedic squad where response paramedics go to assist some, either back up another ALS crew, complete a BLS crew, what have you. But I was telling Taylor earlier about something that happened recently, Aaron, while you were working through your computer troubles. So we had somebody recently ask, hey, what are the qualifications to work there? And I said, oh, you got to have 5 years as a paramedic, and they're list of different things. Like, oh, okay, well, what about EMT? I said, well, I don't know if they'll consider your time as an EMT towards that 5 years or not. That'd be something you'd have to ask HR. Blah blah. Oh no, I'm an EMT. It's like, no, we're not gonna hire an EMT for the paramedic response truck.
so that's a paramedic-ish response truck or something like that, right? You
Yeah.
know,
Well, I don't know that that would exactly accomplish the mission.
but then I told him we had a third rider that we were having a hiring and the agency had you had like to have like 3 years or 4 years of driving experience. And this gentleman goes, hey, how can I get 4 years of driving experience? And I'm like, well, you have to drive for 4 years. Have you been driving for 4 years? He's like, well, I need to get my permit. You probably can't have driving experience if you ain't got a fucking permit, bro. Right? So,
At least none that you can claim legally.
right, or like, and I guess it goes to that like some people's kids, right? You know, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely those people's kids, right? Like, so Aaron was talking about my name, Talo. Like, it's one of those like, especially in Western Pennsylvania, you say Talo, half the people are like, oh, fucking asshole. The other people are like, oh, he's such a nice guy, or oh, I know him, or I know of him, right? So like, but I have a brother Duran and a sister Odessa, but Art and Terry, like basic white people names, and they come up with these names. Even better, Aaron probably doesn't know this, Fiora may not, but my initials are THC. So like, right, right. And if I had to picture my parents, like they are pure hippies. They're like whatever,
Zen.
right? And my mom's like, this is probably like 5 years ago when my dad was sick, and I was like, what, like the initials? Didn't you like put that together? He's like, listen, we lived on a farm, so I was born in November. He's like, early in the morning, we delivered a calf. your mom comes down to the bar and's like, hey, everything good with the calf? And I'm like, he's like, yeah, everything's good. She's like, good, because I'm in labor. We need to go to the hospital. He's like, so drive to the
Just
hospital.
all nonchalantly.
Right.
Like,
Well,
oh, it's
I'm
good.
the youngest. I'm the youngest. So it's like, and they're on a farm, right? Like, she probably delivered the
Yeah.
other two at home.
Yeah.
Uh, so we go to the hospital. I'm delivered. My dad's like, I gotta go. And the nurse is like, why? He's like, I got a new calf at home. It's cold. It's snowing. Like, they're safe here. They're not. If I lose a calf, I'm out some money. So I was like, so
There's
like,
some
how long
logic
did it?
to it.
Right? I'm like, how long did it take you to realize that like I was what my initials were? He's like, listen, dude, we were living on a farm. I just had a calf and a kid. A couple of days later, when I'm like, oh no. He's like, I was definitely celebrating a lot. So take that as you will. So
It's unique. It gives you a story to tell.
right, yeah.
You
And
know?
I mean, got them, got them. Like I remember young EMT, right? I was working in Beaver County for a service. If we go to this cardiac arrest, and they're like this was before GPS, and my partner's like, head out towards the power plant. So we're headed out towards the power plant in Beaver County. He's like, make this left. I'm like, okay. And the road goes from a regular paved road to like a skinny paved road to a dirt road to a 2-track road that's like rushing off the side of the ambulance. I'm like, bro, I think we made a wrong turn. He's like, no, no, no. The end of the road, make a right. We get to the end of the road, I make a right, and it says, welcome to West Virginia. I'm like, we fucking turned the wrong way somewhere. But we were hustling to beat the BLS ambulance there because they had like I think Mother Judson Speed, like Ford Econo line, 4-wheel drive with all the glass around it. So I spin around and I go back out this road, and just as we get to the intersection to make the left, they go right by us. And he looks at me and goes, I told you to beat them. I'm like, you told me to turn at the wrong place. How's it my fault? He's like, you should have known better. I'm like, I've been working here like 6 months to a year. You've been here 15. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you know Juanita.
oh,
One day I'm
what?
working with her and she's like, oh, hey, I want to get ice cream. Make this right up here. Or make this right here. I was like, into this parking lot. She's like, no, that road. And then points off to the left. I'm like, that's your left, dum dum. Like, she's like, well, you know what I meant. Obviously
Right.
not.
Right. Well, you know who's responsible for her being a paramedic?
Is it you?
It is me, right?
Oh,
Like I'm not
man.
responsible for her being a paramedic, but she was definitely my student. And
Okay.
one of my, this is a and she'll confirm this story. So will a couple of guys that still work at Ross. So will my best friend Bane. We go to a call, um, and we have a lady that's just uptunded. She doesn't look good. She's just not there. Check her blood pressure. It's like 80. Check her sugar. It reads high. And I asked her kids, I'm like, how long she been like this? They're like, oh, 2 or 3 days. Now, at my heaviest, I'm 400 pounds plus. This lady made me look like Aaron, right? Like definitely a larger lady. So we asked for help, and local fire department sent their BLS squad up to help us lift. So it's me, Bane, Juanita, and these two gentlemen that are EMT firefighters. So we're like getting the stretcher ready, small house, and we go to stand her up, and fruit flies come out. Right, right. So I vomit in my mouth,
Yeah.
like literally, it's in my mouth. My partner turns and goes to vomit it. It looks like a sprinkler coming through his gloves. And I look, and the two firemen are doing the same thing. And I look over at Juanita, and she's got this look on her face like, what in the hell are these boys even upset about? Right? Right? She had that nonchalant, like, someone literally could have, like, cut their hand off and handed it to Juanita, and she'd be like, seriously? Right? So, like, we get this lady outside, and as we're getting the lady outside, I now get the chance to actually vomit because I didn't want to vomit in this lady's house. So here I am on Perry Highway vomiting, right? Just literally in the middle of Perry Highway. People are driving by like, oh my God, what is going on? The the boss pulls up and I can hear him say, hey, I'm on I'm back in service. It drives right past us. I'm like,
I can't blame them.
no, I can't either,
I've
right?
done the
But
same
at that
thing.
point, I'm like, you motherfucker! Like, what? Couldn't even stop and check on us. So here I
Right.
am in the back of the truck wearing an SCBA on the way to the hospital because I was done. And Juanita is just like crazy. She's like,
Oh
y'all
yeah.
crazy, right? She'll tell you the story. And I was one of those preceptors that literally, unless you're going to kill the patient, it's your call, especially in summative, right? So, she's a very good paramedic, very, very, very good
Oh,
paramedic.
she's an amazing paramedic. Yeah.
So we're on our way to one of the hospitals, and I'm messing around with the Christmas tree on the oxygen, right? So I'm like just messing with it, and she's like looking at me, and I'm like messing with the Christmas tree, and I look back at her, and I'm like, "You okay?" She's like, "Do you want me to put the patient on oxygen?" I'm like, "No, I'm bored as fuck. I just want this call to be over so I can." She's like, "Oh, okay." So she'll tell that story where she's like, "I thought I was missing something, and there you were, just bored." So
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
it's the I think it's the student mentality though, because at the end of a scenario in class, if you ask, is there anything you'd do differently, anything you'd want to add, subtract, change, what have you? It's like, what did I forget? I'm not saying you forgot anything. I'm just giving you
right.
the opportunity to recap and tell me if there's anything else.
Right. And I think it was
Mine's
like an abdominal pain, like
yeah,
that wasn't even like a serious abdominal pain. It's like I ain't crapped in 3 days or 4 days or a month, you know. And
nice.
and you're like, okay, we'll run you over to the hospital. And there she is, like she's like worried that I'm like need to put this lady on oxygen. I'm like, no, I'm just bored. So
Here's a piece of trivia, and I'm assuming Aaron will know the answer to this. What is that Christmas tree? What is the actual name for it? Anybody? It is a
but,
nipple nut adapter.
yeah, I knew it was a nipple something, but I forgot the nut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron's like,
So
how the fuck do you guys know these things?
supply closets at hospitals.
All right. I need one of them. I need a Christmas.
It, it doesn't surprise me at all that you guys know that.
Yeah. I knew it was a nipple of some sort, but I guess if you put it together, the nut goes on the end of the oxygen, right?
Yeah. Oh
So it's
yeah.
a nipple nut adapter.
Yeah. So Aaron, you remember in paramedic class arts and crafts day?
Arts and crafts day.
Yeah, when you made the upper and lower airway models.
Yeah, and we were given like none of the supplies we actually needed to make something.
Sure. So we were doing that this week, and I my group was doing the lower airway, and they're trying to explain like, okay, this part represents the trachea, this part represents the lungs, and there's little sharpie dots on the balloons that were the lungs, and these are the areolas. I was like, ooh, so close.
They're located in the chest, but
We
outside
want
of the chest.
we want the
Yeah.
inside of the
Yeah.
chest part, not the outside of the chest part.
You're missing a V in there somewhere, buddy.
Sometimes I felt like some of those assignments were just like, what can we make these people do?
I think there's actually a lot of merit to them because you really learn
I
the
learned
parts
nothing
and
from that
pieces.
assignment. I learned nothing from that assignment. I learned that I cannot put together a balloon and some random pieces of fuzzy, twisty stuff.
Yeah. To make
So you
something
did learn something.
representative. Yeah.
Right. When you're talking about something as complicated as like the anatomy of like the airway, you're like, what am I going to do with this?
I was
Yeah.
thinking you were going to say there was like grapes or something, and then to show atelectasis, you were just like, wham. Right. Now you have wine.
There you go.
Right.
So, Aaron, the one day, the program director had come in and was talking about the oxyhemoglobin dissociation bell curve. And it was a very off the cuff kind of, like, I know it's a long statement, but like an off the cuff kind of comment by this guy. And Aaron's like, wait. I need you to tell me more about that. And this guy just wasn't having it. So he's like,
Well, he wasn't making sense. It wasn't that he wasn't having it. It's that he wasn't making sense. And I was calling him out for just being up there talking about something. Just because you're a doctor doesn't make no sense.
So he just tells him, he's like, I'll be back in a couple weeks. Why don't you do like a report and present it to me when I'm back? So homie absolutely researched it, made a PowerPoint, everything.
There were voiceovers, there were transitions. It was a whole
Yeah,
thing. I'd say
legit. Yeah, legit. And then dude never came back again.
for weeks. For weeks, they held this over my head. The instructors were like, "Oh, we need to get him here." Like I showed them that I had it. I was like, "They're like, yeah, we should have you give it to the class." And like, I'm telling you, for weeks, never showed up. Oh yeah, we've emailed him. Oh, I bet you did. Yeah, he doesn't want to come back and be proven that he's wrong. That's what it was.
Taylor, I'm sure
He
you
was
should
wrong. We
tell
was just
he's not
relating two
salty at all.
completely. It was just two completely unrelated things, and then I
Right.
caught him relating two completely unrelated things, and then he was like, "Oh, I can't be like wrong because I'm doctor." Oh.
Right. You know.
Yeah, you know how doctors talk.
Is that how you're going to talk
But
when
it's like,
you're a doctor?
yeah. Yeah, not
Exclusively.
me. Exclusively. Oh, I'm special. I'm a doctor.
Ah, kiss
And
guy's butt.
and I think they're one of two ways, right? They're that like I'm a doctor, and then there's like our medical director that shows up, does a bunch of cool stuff. And I was down in the valley one day, and he showed up and did some cool stuff, and he left, and someone was like, "Was that a paramedic?" I'm like,
No.
"No, no, no, no,
This guy
no,
was the kind of guy that like bikes to school.
no." That
Like
you
psych.
wanted to, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like he wakes up at 4 a.m. so that way he can get there by 7 on a bicycle. Like that kind of guy.
Yeah.
He got beat up a lot in high school, huh?
Like he didn't match into ortho specialty, so he's like, I guess I'll do emergency.
Yeah.
I hope he never watches this.
I hope he does.
Yeah.
I hope he does.
I'm going to
And
call him
he's,
and invite him on
he's
next
probably a pretty
week.
nice
Yeah.
guy. I'm just
Yeah.
talking.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking like Fior should send this guy a invite to be on the podcast, and Eric can be like,
Absolutely. Like,
slide.
Just
all it
holding off.
is just Aaron's presentation. We're
Just
not
in the middle
actually.
of the podcast, just be like, hey, and we're gonna take a quick 15 to 20 minute break for a presentation on the oxyhemoglobin dissociation group.
He'd be like, shit, caught me.
I thought
Right.
that kid looked familiar.
I knew him from somewhere.
I scoured the internet for research relating the two things he was talking about, and I'm telling you, it doesn't exist. I had like student access to all the libraries and stuff for research articles. It doesn't exist, Talo. I'm telling you, it doesn't exist.
What? That there's so he was talking about
So he was talking. We were talking about pre-oxygenation,
right,
before eating, right, which is a true thing. And then he was talking about the oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve, and he was trying to relate those two things. But the statement that he made was about once you get below 90%, and then he was trying to relate it to the time of desaturation, which it was two completely separate concepts. Both were accurate concepts, but neither of which related to each other. All he needed to say was that is why this is important, is because once you get below 90%, you start dropping precipitous. But it was an
right, like
inaccurate correlation. And so I said, those two things don't relate to each other. Why are you relating those two things on a graph? Right? Because he was
right.
drawing a graph and saying it like it was. I was like, that graph does
Yeah, they
not
don't.
exist.
That math does not math.
Right. And he wouldn't be like, he was like, you know what? Just look it up.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, no, I did look it up.
So
And
he
he was
did. So not only did he not match an ortho, he talked like ortho. Because sometimes I think that they're like the jocks that like have hammer will break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But of
I
course,
think
like I'm
yeah.
thankful for them for the like my shoulder still works, my knees still work. So
They had a hammer. They broke.
they put stuff back together. I don't know.
A buddy of
Whatever.
mine owns a auto body shop, and one of
I
his
think he froze.
customers.
He did freeze.
Yeah.
He's like that guy who had that ice cube down his pants.
Right. Stuck to
Get
him.
him some water.
Right. You have water, Fior?
I gotta admire that guy's like game plan though. You know what I mean? Like he'd been there before. He's like, I know what this situation calls for. I need some water right now. He's
Oh
like, I'm
yeah,
not even
right. So like he must have at some point had something stuck before and was like, well, if I warm it up a little bit, it'll fall right off.
Right.
Like, so, I mean,
This is a man of science. He knew the properties of water.
right. And well, and like, like he's gone. Oh,
That's all right. We'll figure it out.
he'll come back. But like,
Yeah.
how many times do you go to that overdose? The person's like in the shower and you're like, why are you in the shower? And they're like, well, the water wakes them up. So does breathing for them. Right.
I've actually never had that happen.
Somebody in a shower?
Well, I've
Really?
had people, but not because of an overdose.
Oh shit! Come to Western PA. Come to
No,
the
I know
rest.
it. I know it
Like,
happens. It's not happened to me.
come to
The
one of
overdose
the.
was like this dude. We get there and like we don't know why he's passed out, so we just start treating it like it's respiratory arrest. And then we get to the point where you Narcan him, wake him up. I asked somebody for a nasal airway, and they handed me a 34 French, and I was like, guess that's what we're putting in.
Oh,
So we put it. Now he was a tall guy, right? But he wasn't
yeah,
that tall.
yeah,
Uh, put the Narcan in through the other nostril. He wakes up, and he just like people are used to thinking of like people waking up from overdoses being mad, swinging, confused, all that. Not this guy. This dude, he'd been there. Done. He wakes up.
yeah.
He sits up. Hey, what's going on? I was like, hey man, I think you overdosed. He's like, that makes sense. He's like, what's in my nose? And I was like, we had to put like an airway thing in there. And he's like, ah, can I take it out? And I was like, yeah, dog. He was like, cool.
Go for it. Pulls it
Pulls it
out.
out. He was the
Right.
coolest guy.
I and I will admit I think it's more of a so throughout my career I've worked in a lot of um post mill cities, right? So we're full of them in Western Pennsylvania that had some sort of mill that doesn't have a mill or doesn't have a fully functional mill anymore, and that that seems to be where the people are in the bathtubs because it's like, hey, throw them in the bathtub, wake them up, and I don't have to call the cops because I think it's a good thing now. There's like a overdose forgiveness if you good Samaritan, if you call someone's
Yeah.
overdose and you stay with them, you treat them, you're not getting popped for your drugs that you have on you. You're not getting popped. Like, it's not illegal to use those drugs. It's illegal to possess those drugs, right? So, like,
I think we should
and
start giving them to people who call 911 when it happens. Like, thank you for calling.
what,
Here's some
Narcan
drugs. No,
or
heroin.
heroin? I mean,
Seems
it's a little far,
counterintuitive
little far.
slightly. Yeah.
It's a little controversial. I call it the leave behind heroin program.
Well, what would the
I mean,
paperwork
you
for
could
that look like?
probably,
You know,
I'm trying to combine the initiative with No Child Left Behind. They don't seem to be too interested.
I'm
I
shocked that
mean,
you're not getting traction on
like Fior
this.
said, it's a yeah.
Yeah,
Fior said it. It may be a little controversial, but so
change always is. There's
right,
two things people hate: change and the way things are.
especially EMS providers, right,
That's facts.
Right.
right.
I think the third thing
Well,
you could add
I
is
laugh when you see like some of these old school like paramedics that are like, why are you drilling people on your cardiac arrest? Why are you drilling people? Why are you drilling people? Because it's quick and it's easy. Yeah, but I could start an IV on a 90-year-old grandma. All right, cool. Well, while you're looking for her vein to pop up while you're doing CPR, she's already got a round of meds in,
mm.
right?
I will say if I don't have my stuff and I'm working off the cruise bag, there are times where I can get the IV started before they can find their IO drill. But
Yeah, yeah.
that
You know,
says more about them doing
and
truck
that's a
checks than
yeah. The only thing they checked was the back of their eyelids while their feet were
oh
on the
yeah.
easy boy.
Like, oh, check the ambulance. It's
So
in the garage. Yeah.
yep, it's there. I think it has fuel in it, maybe some oxygen.
Yeah.
So
I worked at a service that was quite busy, and there were often days where you'd get a call before you could finish checking your truck, and it was always a crapshoot if you had a battery in the monitor or the Lucas, or if the intubation kit was in the truck or not. Like, uh, yeah, those are
yeah,
not
those
fun
were.
times.
I mean, but who hasn't shown up to a call and you're like, there's no stretcher in here, right? I did
I
that.
have not done that.
But you will. Someday you will. Someone had to go to the bathroom. We got a call right away and get in the truck, drive the whole way there. Luckily for us, it was a 302 and open the back doors. And I'm like, there's a nice little chair up there. You can sit in that. I want to go to this hospital. No, the only place we take 302s is this hospital. That's so far away. Yeah, well, that's where my stretcher is. I got to go back there.
Just
Right.
gaslight. Stretchers aren't standard issue anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, working and going into Pittsburgh area hospitals, you run into some older city medics that they would tell patients that the stretcher was welded into the truck and it didn't come out. Like it was just there for when you're in the truck,
Yeah.
but you can
Or it was
walk.
for or it was for the people that were actually dying, and the only way you went on the stretcher was if you were dying. So there were
Right.
people that like you would bring the stretcher in because we covered a couple of calls for them, right? You'd bring the stretcher and they'd be like, I'm not dying. I'm not dying. Oh, all right, cool. Get on the stretcher. That's our rules, right?
Yeah.
But do you blame them,
I
right?
mean, yeah. Part of me, yes. Part of me, no. You know,
Right.
it
If you got a
depends.
power load, that's just pure laziness.
Well, I can tell you working in an area that bordered the city on the not so great side of the city, you tend to get a ton of calls for things that you and I probably wouldn't even call our PCP about, and they're calling 911. And it's like, okay, your tooth hurts. I get it. You should probably make an appointment
Got
with a
some
dentist.
hangnails.
Yeah. So it's like,
I cut my fingernails too short.
yeah,
Those are always my favorite. You cut your fingernails too short. What do you want me to do? Put some growth serum on them, or
exactly.
I had someone call me the other week because they like had never seen on like this elderly person that was on hospice that they're taking care of at home. He had a urinary catheter in, and they had never seen the balloon, like the port for the balloon where you fill it up. And they were like, "Yeah, something disconnected." So I gotta check out this old guy's thing, make
right,
sure everything's in there. And I'm like, "So you're telling me this wasn't here before?" And they were like, "No." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like
right.
this
It's a
doesn't
required part,
this doesn't work. Like where was it?" And they're like, "We don't know." And I'm like, "Well, it was here. I'm telling you, it was here." And they were
right?
like,
Like,
"So you need to go to the hospital?" I was like, "Not at all."
mm-mm. Now another one of those funny stories, Fior. I'm working in that same same side of the city. Um, get called for a cardiac arrest. I'm backing up an ALS crew. I get there. It's in a very, very, very house that I would want to live in,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Not
I
a house I
gotcha.
would want to live in.
No.
Steps are about, like 12 inches wide and they're
Were
at
they
like a
the
90
stone
degree
ones
angle.
that tilted to different directions on each step? Like one's this way, the next
No,
one's
this
that
was
way.
inside. This was
Oh,
inside. They
okay.
were super narrow, super steep.
Ah,
And I like turn the corner and they're doing compressions on this dude my size. And I got the Lucas on my back. Oh, I don't know. Right. So we do compressions. His end title was like 50. I'm like, man, we're gonna have to work him for a lot longer. So get the back plate of the Lucas under him. Get the one side. The EMT stops compressions, and we fold him, like get all his fat pulled up, and get the other side clicked down, and like just hit the start button on the Lucas because it's already pushing on his chest. Right. Do like 5 minutes. Give him around 2 minutes in. His end title was like 90, and I'm like, ugh, like
boy.
not because we got a pressure back or a pulse back. Because now we got to carry this dude down those steps. I looked at him. I'm like, you better call for help lifting because that ain't in my job description. Right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
They got out on the porch. The porch like drops like 6 inches. So I'm like,
Was this
but
with a service that only runs van ambulances by chance?
yeah, yeah.
That's a tight
To
fit.
their credit, the EMT and paramedic that were there, great work. They were doing good work. Like when I got there, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
great to work with them. Fireman showed up, and I didn't have to touch the patient going down the steps. And actually, when we got outside, their second truck showed up, and they're like, "Hey, you want to meet us up to the hospital? We'll give you your Lucas back." I'm like, "No problem. Meet you there." Right.
Sounds good.
So it sounds like a plan to me.
Absolutely. I mean, that you can't ask for much more.
No, no.
I've backed them up
You
Went
before.
guys
did
ever
some
use a
fun
reach
stuff.
like a sled?
Oh yeah, that. I mean, Aaron, I've been in houses in one of those mill cities where you like this rather large lady could no longer make it in her bathroom because the bathroom was so small. So she was using a mattress as her commode, and the downstairs neighbor called when the ceiling started leaking. Right? So imagine the smell in the middle of July,
No
right?
AC, I'm sure.
I yeah.
The
Oh no.
depravity that people are okay with accepting never continues to surprise me.
Yeah.
It actually kind of
Never ceases
saddens.
to surprise me, I should say.
Yeah, yeah. Like it kind of saddens me at some point though, because you're like, these are humans, right? Like,
Yeah.
God forbid that like I wouldn't live like that. I know you two wouldn't live like that, but like,
You don't know me that well.
mm, I mean, I would hope that you wouldn't live like that. But like,
Me too.
but on the other side of that, like, how bad are we off that like some people off that that's what they're stuck with, you know?
I mean, I've had people like lick poop off their hands like Cheeto dust.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Sounds more
In fairness, it was clean.
psychiatric. What?
Well, so another one of those stories that just makes you laugh. We had a dementia patient, and it's not to laugh about the dementia patient, but um, I worked a lot of holidays because I don't have kids, right? Um, and
I
I
thought I thought
we go to
I
this
thought you were my father.
what if we were getting a call? Yeah, I don't.
I thought we figured out that you were my father.
No, 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 no,
No.
definitely not,
Oh,
Aaron. Nope.
my
But
my bad.
but so like we go to this house and this guy's laying on the floor and he is literally digging in his pants and doing snow angels, rubbing the poop into the carpet. And I feel so bad for his wife. I feel so bad for his wife, right? And we went there all the time to pick him up. He was a good family. And all of a sudden, out of the back of my head, I hear, the firemen are here. And I'm like, oh my God, she just broke. Like mentally, she had to break. And I turn around and here's this like 5 foot tall lady that is not the wife that's wearing like sweatpants, a tutu, like one of the frilly like tutus that you'd think like a 6 year old's wearing, a sweatshirt with a sports bra over top, and then over top the whole thing is wearing an apron. And I like turn and I look at the wife. I'm like, who's that? We've never dealt with her. And she's like, she's the reason that I'm actually crazy. And it was the other, she lived with two dementia patients. Like, but, right? I'm like, oh my God, how do you deal with this? But like, it was
Did you
just,
get a chance?
but the lady, no, I could give you her name, but you know, I could give you the address. Like the people that worked there at that time, we
That
went,
just sounds like my type.
yeah, you put up with a lot of crap. That's for damn sure. Like, literally and figuratively. But like she was just a nice lady, but like to hear the firemen are here, and I'm like, that is if we've been in that house, I myself had probably been in that house 20 times in the month,
Yeah.
right? We because if he fell at 8 a.m., he would fall again before 8 a.m. the next day.
Never saw this woman.
Never, never. So I'm like,
They keep stairs like Harry Potter or what?
they must have like locked away like. But I was like, what is going on? She's like, she wanted to help cook breakfast or she wanted to help cook Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm like, oh my God. So, but like 90-year-old lady and like she turned around, she's like, oh, the firemen are inside. And I'm like, oh my good Lord. So
The face of defeat.
yeah, like and I felt so bad for this lady. Like we actually were there probably for about an hour helping her. Like I think we ended up making the stuffing for her, and basting turkey, like help her get the like family situated because
You're
like
like, do you want me to take you to the hospital just so you can get away from here?
right. Well, we could because then we would need three ambulances, like one for her, one for her husband and her mom. So, but like she was like, and you guys thought that he was the crazy one, and I'm like, oh boy, honey, I felt bad for that lady. But
Yeah. I mean, how
uh,
many times have you been to a house where it's a simple lift assist, but they want you to take the patient to the hospital that's completely uninjured because they just need a break taking care of this, yeah, this family member. You know what I
oh,
mean?
like yeah, and it's rough
Yeah.
because especially if they know what's going, like the patient knows what's going on, you're like, mm.
Oh,
So
I had that exact call like a month or two ago, where this guy like takes care of his wife, who clearly has some sort of like undiagnosed neurodegenerative condition, right? Looks like maybe Parkinson's, but not diagnosed, and she has episodes as most of these people do.
right,
And so we get there, and he's just given up, right? He's calling us because he can't deal with her. And she's saying, I gotta go to the hospital because of the Parkinson's. I can't stand because of the Parkinson's. I gotta go to the like just repeating herself frantic. And I'm like trying to get information out of this guy. What's going on? Like, why are we called here today? Is this different than how she usually is? Or is this just an and he like can't like answer any questions because he's just like, get a load of her. Like, I mean, like, yeah, I see what's happening right now. Like,
right,
is this how it normally is? Is this normal for her? What? So like, I talked to her. I was like, "Are you going to be able to like stand so that way?" Because the person I was working with was like 7 8 months pregnant. Like she's not lifting a whole lot, and this is a
right,
larger patient. So I'm like, logistically, what are we going to need to do to get this lady out of the house? And so I ended up calling for our second crew because it was like just right up the road from the station, and have them come over. And then the my organization's board president like heard the page, and so he was like, "Oh, Aaron doesn't ask for help very often." So he's like, "I better go over and make sure nothing's going on." So we get all these people over here. While I'm outside, like getting everything set up, there's a cop inside who just like convinces her like to stand up and like walk out. So as soon as I get everybody over to this house to help out, it made a whole big ordeal out of it. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'll walk out to the ambulance with you." Okay.
right. You're like, nah, you made me look like a fool, right?
I literally was like, they were strapping her onto the stretcher, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do anything you guys need." And I was like, "I can't. I need a second." I literally walked
Yeah,
away, and the president was like, "He's like, are you good?" And I was like, "I wish you
no,
could what just happened inside because I
right,
promise I didn't bring everybody here for no reason.
right.
Like, I,
I didn't bring you here to see the circus. I definitely needed some help,
So
right."
now
right?
you
And
just look
that's
like a
just how that
crazy
goes. Every
person.
time you ask for help,
Like you're now just the crazy person.
right? Yeah, they were gonna put me on the stretcher, take me to the hospital. She was gonna drive.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
probably. I'll do whatever.
Let
Drive.
me help you guys out.
Uh
You know,
well, gentlemen, we've been going quite a while here and I'm having a good time, but I feel like maybe we need to turn this into another episode at some point. Have you back on.
I'm in. I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah,
I love it. I love talking. You know,
absolutely.
Yeah, I need to catch up with my dad.
I don't. I mean, you got the blue eyes. You could. I don't know, man. I didn't hang out in the eastern part of
Hey,
the
listen,
state
I'm
much.
over 18. You don't gotta pay child support. Like, just
All
end
right,
it.
cool. They're not gonna come like back, like
Back
the
then,
mist, yeah, mist stuff.
I think once
Like
they're
I'm not.
18, you're good.
Well, I'm talking about him. He's not gonna like sue me for like, oh, you weren't at my graduation.
Well, as long as you
You
bring
know?
him
I just like
the milk
torture me
home
through all these
finally.
years.
Yeah.
Hey, you've been through a lot, brother. I'm not gonna do that to you. You know,
All
I
right,
just want
cool.
to fresh.
Right, 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 right.
But before,
I'll have dinner delivered the next time.
oh yeah,
I do expect a Christmas gift though, a birthday card.
I will. Well, you'll give me your birthday. I'll get you a Christmas. I'll get you a birthday card.
I'll see you
and
at Father's Day.
yeah.
All right, no problem.
Taylor, before we go, is there anything else you want to say on this episode?
No, man, I've had a great time. This is cool. This is good. You know,
Awesome.
I enjoyed
I'm glad you
talking to
did,
you too.
man. We'll definitely have to have you back. And you know, thank you for the consult, man.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for the salt.
Yes, thank you guys both for the consult.
Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome, son. And the creepy uncle on this.
If you are interested in being on the show, please email us at thanksfortheconsult@gmail.com.